Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Meeting House Church. We're so glad you're here joining us today online. My name is Patrick Smalley, and I'm the Digital Ministry Manager here at Meeting House Church. If this is your first time joining us, I'd like to extend a special welcome to you. Check out the description below to find helpful links for you to get the most out of today's service. And if you'd like to get more connected in our community, an easy first step is by texting ConnectMC to 55498. Now, whether this is your first time or your 100th time joining us online, we'd love to hear from you. In the bottom of your screen, there's been a QR code, and maybe you couldn't contain your curiosity and you've already scanned it with your phone. This QR code is going to take you to a survey. We want to better understand those of you joining us online each week, your needs, your wants, your dreams for connecting digitally with Meeting House Church. Now, maybe you live across the country. Maybe you're just at your cabin this weekend, or maybe you woke up late and you didn't feel like getting ready today. That's cool too. Whatever your story, we're glad that you joined us today, and we'd love to hear from you. So take 5 minutes today and fill out the survey. It's going to help us out a ton as we look to launch new programs this fall. Now, if QR codes aren't your thing, there's a link available in today's description on YouTube. Or if you need a minute to scan the code, feel free to pause here and give yourself a little more time. Now, as we're getting ready to start this morning, get comfortable and feel free to send a message in the chat. And from all of us here at Meeting House Church, welcome. Welcome.
Hello, good morning. That was startled myself. Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here this morning. Hello, everyone online joining us. Welcome to Meeting House Church. My name is Leah. We're glad you're here. We're just we love this service to just kind of have a slow start. We're all getting our coffee, waking up still. People will still be rolling in, so feel free to get some coffee still. We'll get started in the next 10 minutes. And then we have a couple questions we'll put up on the screen here that you can just discuss at your tables, or if you are really extroverted, you can go around to all the tables. But the couple questions we have: who is a person in your life who really walks the talk of what they believe? And then number 2, have you ever found yourself performing faith more than feeling it? So, again, the whole room or your table, but we'll give you guys some time to just get coffee and settle in and discuss.
Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I add my welcome to Leah's welcome, and we're glad that we have had the chance to gather here in the great hall here at Meeting House Church. We're grateful for those who are joining us online. We're grateful for that technology that makes it possible. You are most welcome, and you would be most welcome to come join us in person sometime, because the one thing we have that you probably don't have at home is after the service, there's donut holes. So it might be worth it for you to come. We're really glad that we can gather around these tables and enjoy the fellowship with one another. It's just as we've been watching. But also we can invite God's presence and leading for us as we think about the week ahead and the months ahead as we seek to be followers of Jesus. Today we're going to be talking and continue our series from the book of James. James is a tough book at times. It's challenging. It's written to a group of people that he's highly motivated to encourage them to kind of get back in line and focused in terms of what it is to actually live a life of faith. And so it's a challenge for us as we hear these words, as we contemplate them for our own life, as we evaluate what that means for us. So let me begin with prayer, and then I'm going to offer that piece of scripture for you so you can already begin thinking about that before I get up and share some thoughts a little later in the service. Let's pray. God, we are grateful for these Sunday mornings where we can gather with like-minded people, and we can come as we are. We can come with our thoughts, our beliefs, our hopes, our dreams, our challenges, our questions, just as we are, trusting, kind of exercising that faith muscle, trusting that you are meeting us here, and we will experience you by the power of your Spirit, but also in the relationships around us. So come and speak to us. Meet our needs as we present them, for we pray this in your name. Amen. So we're in the second chapter of the book of James. James can be a bit of a challenging book and has been for a long time, as I've already said. As a matter of fact, there was a big debate. James was the last of the books entering in the Bible because it had this challenging thought that it can't just be by faith alone, it's faith and works. And there was a lot of dialogue about that. And where we are going to be today in the passage is kind of in the midst of that dialogue. So listen, as I share with you from James 2, verses 14 and following. James asks the question, "What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith, but not works? Surely that faith cannot save, can it? If a brother or sister is naked and lacks daily food, and then one of you says to them, 'Go in peace, keep warm, eat your fill,' and yet you do not supply their bodily needs, what good is that? So faith by itself, if it has no works, is dead. But someone will say, 'You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from works, and I will, by my works, show you faith. You believe that God is one, you do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Do you want to be shown, you senseless person, that faith apart from works is worthless?'" I told you it was tough. "Was not our ancestor Abraham justified by works when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see, that faith was active along with his works, and by works faith was brought to completion. Thus the scripture was fulfilled, that saying, Abraham believed God and was reckoned to him as righteousness. And he was called the friend of God. You see that a person is justified by works and not by faith alone. Likewise, was not Rahab the prostitute also justified by works when she welcomed the messengers and sent them out by another road? For just as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead." We are going to unpack that a bit later in this time together as the band comes and prepares to lead us in worship. I'm wondering if we have taken the time to thank this amazing group of musicians for being a part of this service. We are so grateful for you all. Be most welcome.
Feel free to stand and join us. Right.
Yeah. Stand, sit, do whatever. Jam out.
day I jump out of bed, splash of water all over my hair, brush 'em up my teeth, and make sure my ears are clean. These days you gotta be strong, so I do a push-up, sing a song, pick on the guitar, stamp on the tambourine. Always good to change my socks, know the tools in my toolbox, learn people good, but learn myself the best. Don't get lonesome, stay glad, take a bath and wear some plaid, work when I can work, but don't forget to rest. Dream good all night long, rise up and sing your song. They say life is hard and they're not wrong, so keep that hope machine running strong. Adiole. Plan what you can plan, dance when you can, laugh at yourself and make up your own jokes. A little bit of fun, a little bit of growth, hopefully a little bit of both. Love your ma, love your pa, and love all kinds of folks. Talk quiet and listen loud, teach humble and learn proud, scuffle with the struggle and wrestle with the pain. Open homes, open blinds, open hearts, open minds, let in the sunshine, let in the rain. Dream good all night long, rise up and sing your song. They say life is hard and they're not wrong, so keep that hope machine running strong. Adiole, adiole, adiole.
Okay, if there are any kids, you can come join me for us to do our God's Garden dismissal. We have some. Yeah, they're coming. They're quiet. There we go. We have to be extra loud today. Okay. Yeah, whenever you guys are ready.
Come, oh come to the garden, gather round, come without fear, known by name, here in God's garden, all are welcome here. Everyone, come, oh come to the garden, gather round, come without fear, known by name, here in God's garden, all are welcome here.
Thank you. Okay, so kids, you have to be really loud on the count of 3. I'm going to say hi, church. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hi, church. That was pretty loud. Okay, so then church, on the count of 3, say have fun, kids. So 1, 2, 3.
Have fun, kids.
Okay, and then we can head out the back. Enjoy. Good morning again, everyone. It's good to be here with you all. It's just nice. It's nice. My name is Leah. I am part of the Emerging Generations team here at Meeting House. And I have the pleasure of doing a little breathe-in with you all today so we can start to turn ourselves to this theme together today and explore what this means. So I'm going to start with reading
This is a poem. You may have heard of Mary Oliver. This is some of her selected essays, some of her work. This is just a little section of one of her pieces. Em and I steered our wooden boat with the ratcheting motor to the breakwater and a little beyond, threw out the anchor and baited our hooks. All afternoon we drew in the trembling line only to find the clean hooks, the bait taken. We put more bait on. We were without instruction and did not know how long it might take to catch something. Later it was explained that we had been feeding crabs, probably, or elated gatherings of the greens. As far as fishing went, we used the wrong bait and we did not engage it to the hooks properly. We were in the wrong part of the harbor at the wrong time according to the tides, and so on. We were rather glad. We meant, of course, to catch fish. Nevertheless, the hours passed pleasantly, and we found that we were content to have rested no leaping from the water. The fact that we caught nothing became, in fact, part of the pleasing aspect of the day. The water was deep and luminous and ever moving, the sky clean and distant, the mood more suitable for slow, long-limbed thoughts than for taking from even the simplest husk of body its simple, final thimble of breath. And so you might ask me, what the heck does that have to do with works and faith? And I was thinking about kind of how I have viewed works. How is faith and work? Because I think a lot of times we can hear that, and it's like we go to church, we do our devotionals, we, make sure people are taken care of, or whatever it might be. And I was really thinking about this recently, because the past 6 weeks I was forced into this season of rest, which is not a normal word or season for me. I found out through a series of health issues that I had 2.5 pounds of fibroids, which are non-cancerous tumors. And so I had a pretty invasive surgery to remove all of that. And I was out for 6 weeks. And I'm a person who is like, I want to be doing everything. I want to be helping people. I want to save the world. Let's all do it. And this season, I was forced to just rest, right? In this season, I was forced to just go out on the boat, and while there was work set before me, there was work that I wanted to be doing, there was fish I wanted to be catching, I just had to sit. And I had to rely on people almost more than I ever have in my life. And so I was thinking about that in this rest, I really saw faith come to work more than anywhere else. I really saw people bringing me food, people literally helping me get out of bed, people sending me the, hey, just checking in text. It was just amazing to see this community of people really surround me, and it just was more than that, though. Through that, this is the heart of God. This is God at work. This is unconditional love, right? I in no way could show up for those people in return, but it really was God at work. And so I just was thinking about, as we evaluate what faith and work and faith and action really looks like, I think it's more complex. It's more how we are available to, I was able to see it through other people because I've provided it before too, but it was really seeing people show up and really relying on them in the most unexpected way. Like you go out to fish and you expect to catch fish, but really what ends up being the best part is you just enjoyed being together, being out on the boat, experiencing the nature, whatever it is. And that's where we have space to finally see God at work and what our faith looks like alive. And so I just wanted us to kind of think about that a little bit more today. I have a couple questions. You can talk a couple minutes at your tables to talk with each other. Can faith and works be more than a checklist of doing good? And does your experience of belovedness and belonging influence how you treat others? Right? So when I'm in those spaces of feeling beloved and belonging, it motivates me to want to create the same for other people. And I think that's one of the biggest ways our faith moves and works. So yeah, we'll give you a couple minutes to just talk amongst your tables with those questions. And the band will play a little music underneath, and then we'll join again to sing.
Is it all real? Do we have free will? What are the numbers? What is your passion? Why are you grateful? What makes you happy? What gives you courage? What does your heart say? Everything's a miracle. The answer's in the book of life. The answer's in the book of life. Everybody worries, why do we promise? What is existence? What does it matter? Who should I stand by? Seeds of the future, rise of humanity, everything is sacred. The answer's in the book of life. The answer's in the book of life. Don't get excited, be conscientious. Who do I run to? What do I stand for? Who should I play for? What should I pay for? What makes it all worthwhile? How do I see? How do I hear it? How do I move it? When I get near it, how do I get through it? Everything's amazing, everything is wonderful. Life's full of sadness, love is the answer. The answer's in the book of life. The answer's in the book of life. The answer's in the book of life. The answer's in the book of life.
Thank you so much for that. When your voices were doing that, life is in the book, that chorus, that was just gorgeous, wasn't it? It was amazing. It was amazing. Thank you. There was a phrase in that first song that you guys sang, and we sang along. I wish life was as easy as take a bath and wear some plaid. Wasn't that? You're the plaid guy. David's the plaid guy. Okay, sorry about that. You don't know who we're talking about. But yes, if life were that simple. But life isn't that simple, is it? Life is complicated and life is challenging. And it seems like sometimes that life is just getting more and more challenging. As we are walking through this summer, the book of James, it's easy for us to listen to the words of James and use that as an opportunity to measure and evaluate others. We use it as an opportunity to kind of hold it up to the people that are around us and go, how are they doing? That's not the intention of this letter. The intention of this letter is an opportunity for us to stop and think, how am I doing on the journey of faith? Where am I on the spectrum of faith? And how is it influencing and challenging and helping my life? And so as we're listening to this passage today, and as I'm unpacking it a little bit with us today, maybe think about the questions that it offers you. Because you moving forward in your growth, that's the purpose. That's why we gather here. That's why we bring our questions, our challenges, our hopes, our dreams to these places to go, okay, how am I doing? And what are some of the steps that I can take to help me continue to grow? One day, a nun who worked for a local health care agency was out making her rounds when she ran out of gas. Thankfully, there was a gas station just down the street, so she walked to the station to borrow a gas can and get some gas to start her car. Unfortunately, somebody had gotten there before her, and there was no gas can. So she thought to herself, what can I do? I need to get on with my tasks. So she went back to her car and thought, well, then maybe there's something in my car that I could use to get some gas to get going. And she found something. She found a bedpan. And so she hurried back to the gas station with her bedpan, filled it up with gas, went back to her car and began to pour it into her car. Just as she was doing that, a couple people drove by, saw what she was doing, and said to the other, "Now that is faith." What do you call faith? What is faith for you? Starting with that premise helps us as we kind of explore what James is telling us in our passage for today. What is faith? What does faith do? What can faith do for us, in us, through us? The book of Hebrews has a definition that is often a go-to definition. Hebrews says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things seen." Faith is the substance of things that we hope for, and it's the evidence of things unseen. This passage from Hebrews, connected to James, gives us a chance to stop and go, is my faith the substance of my hope? And does it help point me to those things that I don't quite have figured out? And does it empower me, even when I haven't got it all figured out, to keep moving forward? To keep looking for, to keep trusting, to keep hoping for a relationship? This passage is an important passage because it takes us just beyond that conversation about what faith is to then, if faith is important in my life and is meaningful in my life, what does it challenge me then to do? There's an old story, you might have heard it, about a famous tightrope walker named Blondin. He lived in between 1824 and 1897, first appeared in shows in England and just captivated his audiences. But he owes his celebrity and his fortune to the idea that he came up with to walk on a tightrope across Niagara Falls. He made history on June 30th, 1859, when he made his first walk across Niagara Falls. Just to give you an idea of what that was like, for his crossing, Blondin utilized a 1,100-foot, 3-inch diameter rope stretched across Niagara Falls. No net, because what would that do? That wouldn't be any fun. The crossing took 20 minutes, where he's out over Niagara Falls with this pole and a 3-inch piece of rope. That 30-foot balancing pole was all that kept him on his path. It weighed 40 pounds. During the summer of 1859, Blondin completed 9 crossings of Niagara Falls. The most difficult one occurred in August when he carried his manager on his back. 6 times they had to stop, and the manager had to get off his back so that Blondin could rest and get ready to do it again. I don't know even how that would have worked. But he got back on his back, and they completed it. Then one day, he decides to push the limits even further. He took a wheelbarrow, and he walked across Niagara Falls with the wheelbarrow. When he got to the other side, he looked at the crowd and said, "You just saw me cross Niagara Falls with a wheelbarrow. Do you think I can go back?" "Yes." "Do you think I can go back with someone in the wheelbarrow?" The crowd went crazy. They're like cheering. "Yes, do it, do it, do it. Yes, yes." So Blondin was looking at the crowd and looking at one of the faces that was the most enthusiastic. And he looked at that guy and he says, "Hey, let's get in the wheelbarrow." At which point the guy literally disappeared into the ground. You know, it's easy for us to say, yes, I can believe that's possible. Yes, I can believe that someone could do that. But true faith is when we say, and I'm even willing to take the next step. I don't just believe it could be, I believe it can be, and we get into that wheelbarrow. That's where faith stops being just faith, and it becomes a movement in our life, a spirit leading in our life. It becomes transformational in our life. It becomes life-giving in ways that maybe it hasn't before. Because the real measure of faith is not just our talk, it's our walk, really. Do I truly believe what I say I believe? Do I truly believe what I have in my own heart and in my own mind that's leading me and guiding me? Because when we act on it, It's the notion of, I believe that chair can hold my weight, but I never actually sit in it. When I sit in it, I'm really confirming to myself and to the world around me that chair, which I had faith in, truly held up. As we continue this series in James throughout this summer, it's going to get more and more challenging for us to think about how our faith really plays out in our life. And again, not so that we can measure ourselves against anyone else, not so that we can measure ourselves in some way that becomes real tangible and becomes, kind of a place that we can kind of put rest ourselves on and go, okay, I'm good to go. It's a chance for us to say, where am I in this journey of faith, and where can I go? Where does faith actually then lead us? Stagnant faith, a place where we just are stuck. James says several times in this passage that kind of faith is dead. It's not really alive. It's not going to be helpful. It's not going to show up when you need it to show up in the life circumstances that we sometimes face. It's not going to be life-giving for you. It's faith in action. It's faith with momentum that's going to bring life for us. I want to share just a couple of thoughts about that life-giving faith idea. Because what I've learned in my own journey is that life-giving faith is not just something I say. I mean, as a professional communicator, as someone who steps up at places like this and tells people things all the time, I could carry that part out for a long time. I could talk about things that I've read about. I can talk about things that I think about. But for me personally, it can't be just what I say. And after a while, you're not going to believe me anyway, because if you just hear me talk about it and you don't see it actually in my own life, you're not going to believe it. You're not going to trust that. Faith can't just be what we say. Faith with just words does not really empower us, encourage us, and help us to think about where we want to continue to grow in our life. It's the old age notion that talk is cheap, right? Talk is cheap. There was a poll a few years ago by Barnum, and they asked about where was Christianity in terms of its impact on the United States. 4 out of 5 people in the survey said they were Christians and they were following Jesus. The following question asked, what impact does your faith have in your life? And 4 out of 5 of those said, it doesn't really. There's this notion that I say that I'm a follower of this way of life, and yet it doesn't transform my life. It means it's got stuck somewhere in what I say rather than what I actually do. What James is encouraging the church to do and encouraging us as people of faith community is to say, how can I get my faith beyond just what I say into those places where it actually makes a difference in my life and in others? Life-giving faith can't just be what we say. Life-giving faith also can't be just things that we feel as well. Many times religion can draw out from us emotions. It has a chance and an opportunity for us to think about what we feel and how those things make us feel and how in being in community, what does that feel like? And when I do good things, what does that feel like? So being on the faith journey is about what we feel, but it can't just be stuck there, because if we just stuck at the feeling level, it means that we aren't actually doing anything. James in our passage illustrated that when he talked about how when a brother or sister is without clothes and lacks daily food, and one of the people say, well, you should really be warm. You should really take care of yourself. You should get some food, when they're not able to do that on their own. I feel like you should do something about your predicament, your situation, but we don't do anything to actually help them. There's any of you Peanuts cartoons fans? I don't know where the creator of Peanuts came up with some of the stuff that he came up with, but he was pretty profound in so many ways. In one of the classic Peanut cartoons, it's wintertime, and Charlie Brown and Linus are shown all bundled up while Snoopy is outside on his doghouse, shivering. Charlie Brown and Linus discuss how cold Snoopy must be. He looks so cold. They really need to do something to comfort him. So they walk over to Snoopy and they say, "Be of good cheer, Snoopy, be of good cheer." And they pat him on the head, and a question mark pops up over Snoopy's head. What? That notion of we felt sympathy for you, we had empathy for you, didn't result in them bringing him a scarf or a coat or something to warm him up. And the same is true for us. Now, the reality is we can't do something for everyone. There are going to be circumstances and situations where we aren't going to be able to. But there are those situations and circumstances where we can do something. We can make a difference. And it has to go beyond just what we say and feel. And it can't also get stuck, if it's going to be life-giving faith, in just what we think. In concepts and ideas and philosophies and notions. And we can fill our mind all up with scripture, we can fill it up with doctrine, we can fill it up with all kinds of things. But if it stays in the thinking process and not go to that transformational place, then it's not life-giving. It's just things that we think about, things that are interesting. It maybe even goes so far as things that we should do something about, but if we don't do it, then it stays stuck. James says in our passage for today, "You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without works, and I will show you faith with my works. You believe that God is one, good. Even the demons believe, and they shudder." Pretty dramatic statement that James is making, saying, hey, even the evil in our world gets that. You got to move from just that place where you're thinking about it, you're saying things about it in your heart and your mind, and maybe even to others, but it doesn't move to a place where you're actually doing something. For James, it wasn't ultimately both of us are right. He was suggesting faith plus works, faith plus action, faith plus the choices to make a difference in the world. That's where true faith belongs. I believe there are times along our journey where we just get that tap. As I said before, we can't do everything. If we try to do everything, we're never going to get anywhere. It's us working collectively that can begin to make a difference in the world around us. But I think there are times along the journey where we just get tapped. It is our moment. It is our time. It is our opportunity to make a difference. Some of you maybe have heard this story, but I thought in my own life, in my own experience, this was one of those moments where I got that tap and I swallowed hard and felt that moment of indecision. It was a number of years ago. My kids were little, and they're in their 30s now. And my wife had a surgery, so she was home, and it's Easter time. When it comes to those kinds of holidays, we have a great partnership. I will clean the house. She will do all the stuff that makes the holidays happen. And she was homesick. She was home recovering, so she couldn't. So she sends me to take care of the kids' Easter baskets that year. And I remember saying, I got it. No problem. I got it. And she says, do you have it? Are you sure you have it? I said, I got it. No problem. I got it. And I had it in my heart and in my mind. And I said I got it. I'm on my way. And I thought through what I might actually even do about it. But I didn't do anything about it until like Friday of Easter. And I remember going to Target. And I don't know if you've ever been to Target 2 days before Easter, but there's some of those terrible yellow peeps, and there's some green plastic grass and some empty baskets, and that's about all there is there. So I remember walking around for about half an hour just going, oh, they'd like this. Oh, they might like this. Oh, they could use this. And I put some things together. I'm standing in line thinking, how am I going to explain this to my wife? And as I'm standing in line, I can hear a commotion that's happening at the customer service counter. And there's this big man standing at this counter, and he is yelling at what looked like about maybe a high school age woman across the counter. And he is trying to tell her that she needs to take back this thing that he wants to return. And she's trying to explain to him that it didn't come from Target, so I can't give you the money back for that. And he's telling her to the point where she's now backed up against those bins, and he's leaning over the counter. I can see the manager of the store right over there in the pharmacy. I know he can hear what's going on. And I'm standing there saying to myself thinking, somebody should do something about this. Because nobody was moving. I remember setting these prized possessions that I was going to be taking home later, and I remember walking up, and I came to the side of this man, and I said, sir, you know, she's trying to explain how this works, and so maybe you just need to step back a step. Now he turns to me, and now he's in my face, and so I kind of stepped in between him and her. I don't know why I did that, but now that just made him all the more mad. And he, I think, is at that place where he is so angry, he's out of control. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, this is going to come to blows. But I guess better me than her. And nobody else is coming to the rescue. And just in that moment, I thought, okay, here we go. 2 Egan police officers walked in the door. They had been sitting right outside the store, and some employee went and got them. And they came in, and they saved that guy's life. At which point the manager, what's going on? I thought to myself, that's that perfect example, right? We can feel like somebody should do something. We can even say, even out loud, somebody should do something. We can think about a way that somebody could do something about something, and yet it could stop right there. And that's going to mean we're going to have to take some deep breaths and take some big swallows and step in that place where we say, okay, if I've been tapped to do this, I'm going to trust that the God who's tapped me is going to be with me in the midst of that. It's going to lead me and guide me and give me those words that I need. Give me the courage that I need. Give me what I'm going to need. Because then it's faith practiced. It helps us to better understand where God will show up and how God will show up. It helps us to build on that hope that actually will manifest itself in us doing more about our faith than maybe we have in the past. That's how we grow. James's letter is an encouragement to us. Not just to make us feel bad or hold us accountable or judge us in some way. It's an encouragement to us to take our faith beyond those places where they can get stuck and experience our faith in a life-giving way that helps to grow into the fullness that God desires for us. And we can encourage each other as we do that along the journey. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I want to give you a chance to kind of ponder what we talked about today. And I want to give you a chance to think about a question that maybe will help kind of guide you into the week to come. Is there a relationship or a place in your life where you might express your faith by what you do this week? Does something come to your mind that helps take what I've shared with you today, kind of put it into a context where it's actually in your life? Because when that happens, we have a chance to move forward. So as you're part of that, I'm going to invite the band to come and prepare for us to sing again. But let's think about how we can take it from this intellectual thought process, emotional things that we think about, to a place where God can use to transform our lives.
dark wells comes pure clean water, and the ice will melt as the day gets hotter. The night grows old as the sun climbs into the sky. When now is then, and tomorrow's coming, and where you've been starts meaning something. As long as you can, just keep stumbling ahead. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. You can start all over again. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. You can start all over again. From deep dark wells comes pure clean water, and the ice will melt as the day gets hotter. The night grows old as the sun climbs into the sky. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. As long as you're not finished, you can start all over again. You can start all over again. Oh, you can start all over again.
Great. A couple announcements before we wrap up our time together this morning. First and foremost, I want to make sure I'm following the right ones. Town hall meetings. We are going to start doing these quarterly, not for any specific vote or reason, but time to just be together with leadership, with each other, ask questions, wrestle, wonder, ponder the vision and growth of this church with each other. So that's really just the intention of those to, have time together as a community. The mission of the month, this month, is supporting refugee families. So if you would like to get more involved with that or know more, you can visit the Connection Corner out in the North Commons right after the service. They'll be right there to help you figure out and learn more about that. And then as well, we are doing another tiny home building here in our parking lot. We did one 2 summers ago. Yeah. So you can sign up, at the Connection Corner to help. You don't need to be a master carpenter. There are plenty of ways for you to help with that project and contribute as we build that tiny home together, which I'm forgetting the name of the... Settled, yes. Thank you. That is the organization that we are partnering with, so it will go to Settled, which means they will help someone experiencing homelessness, help them settle and that become their home. So, other than that, we are really grateful to have had this time together today. Definitely head out for the donut holes and coffee out in the North Commons after, and please enjoy your day. Thank you.